It's in the game.
We have a game double and a game double in St James's Park. Our live game will be Newcastle taking on Liverpool in the Carabao Cup, but there's the small matter of the highlights between Newcastle and Fulham to get through first. Good evening everyone, welcome to St James's Park and hello to me again. Obviously, my appearance here today means that Aaron Hinwood is preoccupied at the Emirates Stadium with his lovely missus, so it is my time again to do commentary duties for you today. And here is St James's Park. We've got Newcastle United taking on Fulham. Look at that table. What a topsy-turvy table we've had this year. Spurs are leading it, followed by Newcastle United, and to be fair to their opponents Fulham today, they've had a very respectable start as well, sitting in 10th. I don't think the table will end like that, but we'll enjoy it for all we can. So the biggest team news comes out of Newcastle United tonight as local lad Jordan Johnson makes his debut here today. He grew up a fan in this place. He's a local lad. He saw the likes of Bobby Robson, who managed here, and watched Alan Shearer banging the goals. He witnessed all sorts of great memories here. Now, he finally puts his own self on the pitch today, hoping to do his hometown proud. We'll hope he has a respectable game, and I'm sure the message was really just have some fun. It's a highly rotated Newcastle United squad this evening, and Jordan Johnson comes in. Dodo is moved to the left as a result. Lucas Smiley makes a start. Harvey Barnes and Jacob Murphy are either side of Valdemade up front on the three today. Well, Fulham's had its reputation as a reel for Arsenal move-ons, I guess. But only one makes the starting lineup today with Emile Smith-Rowe, I think that is. I think Alex Iwobi makes the bench. But so much as EAFC wanting us to get right to the action, I guess, I can't read any of the lineups now. So someone, including myself, will have to probably put a letter to EA and tell us that we can't read this stuff. Please sort it. Well, about 19 minutes earlier, not much has happened here, but I think that's Harvey Barnes is on the ball now. And Valdemade has picked out Miley. And Newcastle just content to keep it amongst themselves, it looks like. And Miley, that's a brilliant turn, and now he's going to anticipate as a goal. Lewis Miley has scored again. The little lad who played him with his brother some years ago. That was a brilliant turn, by the way. He left his defender for dust there. Look at this turn. That is sensational from Lewis Miley. And it's another goal for Newcastle United. And so many people said that Newcastle would probably struggle with scoring goals this season, but as we've said so many times this year, it's a collective here. So they've actually been really well done in that department. 1-0. So we're here for the second half, and we just kicked off. And, well, Newcastle have been relatively untroubled so far, but we now know they struggle for aerial balls, and they've struggled again. Another goal. And Fulham have drawn level. They don't really look like scoring all day, but in aerial, where is he going? Where is he going? If he wanted to go back to the centre circle, he'd be probably better off picking up the ball. It's a great header, to be fair. Maybe James Trafford could have done better positioning-wise. Let's have a look. It is a top draw header, to be fair. Oh, James Trafford. He's really unlucky. Oh, that's really unfortunate. You can't really put the blame at his door. Oh, he just missed it. Well, next for Newcastle United, a vital fixture and a big one. They're going up against Liverpool again in the Carabao Cup. Unlike the last one, which it was me, Aaron Hill will be commentating for that one. Oh, look at the space that Harvey Barnes has here on the left-hand side. Oh, he's got so much space, full of defensive lacks here. Oh, it's 2-1. It's too easy. Harvey Barnes having all the time in the world there. It's a poor goal for Fulham to concede, but Newcastle United will certainly take it. Harvey Barnes, he had all day. That's poor defending for Fulham, to be fair. And, well, no Bert Leno for Fulham today. I think he was transferred earlier in the year. And Newcastle have their lead back. Oh, what a fantastic tackle that was. Oh, my goodness. It was well timed. And the fans showed their appreciation of it. I'm not sure who it was, but it was sensational nonetheless. Oh, now here they come again. Looking for another goal. Voldemort 3-1. And that is deserved. After a brilliant piece of defensive play. And we see the sweet chin music here. I guess. I would do a Jim Ross impression. But I'd probably leave that at home, to be completely honest. 3-1 to Newcastle. And once again, it was easy, but it was all made for defensive work, which was sensational. Newcastle probably home and dry at this point now. Here they come again from the other wing this time. And with the ball in. And the ball's going to go to Trevor, but there's a free kick. Big given. That's very harsh, really, because it was good defensive work. Reed is coming off for, I think that actually might be Alex Iwobi, but I'm not sure. I can't really tell from here. There's no caption at all. Captions certainly need updating for next year. Oh, a great header there by Maurice, I think it was. And once again, Newcastle struggle with aerial balls. Rodrigo Muniz has scored. I don't think it's going to really mean that much in the context of the game, but it'll at least give other teams some encouragement. The air ball has been Newcastle's problem all year. I mean, to be fair, that is quite the towering header. Oh, that's a wonderful header. Maybe there's a couple of things that Newcastle probably could have done a little bit better in defence there, but take nothing away from that. That's a splendid header. It's not going to really get them much, unfortunately, but they'll certainly take it. And it looks like Newcastle are just going to hang on today. Fulham have rarely threatened, to be fair, but the aerial ball's a bit of a problem. And he's just holding at the ball there. Well done. About 30 seconds, 10 seconds maybe. And Newcastle are just content to keep the ball, really. And there's the final whistle. And Newcastle hold on for a vital win by 3-2. It certainly was an easy game, even though they had most of it. Fulham's only chances with their only goals, and it was only from the aerial ball, which Newcastle really struggled with. So maybe that's an issue that Eddie Howe needs to try and fix, because surprisingly, goal scoring hasn't been that much of a problem. And well, they'll certainly take that, especially after losing Isak. They win here today by 3-2. And here are the scores from this weekend's fixtures. What that means to the Premier League table. Alongside our coverage today, Bournemouth for Nottingham Forest, drawing 2-2. And, well, they'll be having a Stroud and Hillwood coming back from the Emirates because his team won by 2-1. But unfortunately, on the other side, for his misses, it's a draw against Crystal Palace. That'll be rather disappointing. Something that Arsenal probably should have won comfortably, to be fair. Everton continued to struggle at home with a 3-1 loss against Spurs. To be fair, Spurs are table toppers right now. Brentford drawing 1-1 with Liverpool. Chelsea beating each other by 2-0, which probably should be no surprises there. Wolves still don't even have a point on the board, let alone a win. They lost 3-2 to Burnley today. Leeds United, the promoted club, making rings round the Premier League right now. Another 2-0 win against West Ham. And Aston Villa and Manchester City was a 0-0 draw. So that means for the table, the Spurs still lead by that point ahead of Newcastle United, who opened up a bit of a gap to Arsenal in third. So to Aaron's misses, no need for panic stations yet in terms of title, winning and losing. And to be fair, we've only played about 9 games. So, no panic, people, no panic. Bournemouth up into 4th. Well, what a surprises this season, followed by Aston Villa and Manchester City. Well, Manchester City actually is surprised rather even further down than usual. The same for Chelsea, down there in 7th. I'm not really sure what's happening with those two, but they've lost a bit of ground in the race for the top 4, let alone the title win. But as we have said, we've only played 9 games. Palace are in 8th, and Leeds United, what an effort. New promoted club in 9th there, followed by Nottingham Forest. We've been hearing of a possible sacking for Sean Dyche, not Sean Dyche, but Ange Postecoglou, which would be rather harsh, to be honest. Sean Dyche could actually be his replacement. I have to keep a watch his space on that. So Fulham, the 2 Merseyside clubs, despite Everton's poor home form, Everton's still 13th. Manchester United finally out of the relegation zone in 17th place, although I think they were out of it last time. Brentford now back in with Sunderland, and Wolves need to have massive changes because after 8 games now, or 9 games even, they still haven't even scored a point, let alone anything else. Just as a side note, I really like those new Google Maps zoom-in things for match intros this year. Welcome to the EFL Cup, and that's not the only thing, that's not the only kind of new thing for this year. As you just saw there, I think we have brand new captions. I'm not sure when this was added, but if you remember against Exeter City and Newcastle United when we covered that game, it was kind of like the generic EFC kind of scoreboards here. Now we've got something new. It could still be that maybe the colours have just changed, but yeah, that was a pretty nice addition. But anyway, to the action then. Welcome back to St James's Park again. We've been here a lot recently, and it's for the EFL Cup tie between the holders, that's right, the holders, Newcastle United, who won it last season of course, and Liverpool. And, well, we all know what happened last time, these two men. It was a very high-scoring game. So, if you come to for goals tonight, you've probably come to the right place. And as you can probably tell, just a couple of changes for Newcastle United. I think the most kind of noticeable one is up top, as Yanni Weezer makes his another start today. I do believe that Alexander Isak has made the Liverpool team. Let's have a look. Yes, he certainly has. So... Majorvili on the bench, Alisson in goal, of course. I think it is pretty much what you would expect for Liverpool. There's Rudiger there. I'm trying to remember if he joined before or in a transfer window this season in the game. I'm not actually sure. He's not someone I remember from the previous meeting between these two. So it might have happened maybe outside or even knowing. Rudiger's obviously a very decent defender. So I'm not sure how we missed that out, but any case, here we go then. So Alexander Isak probably coming here for more stick tonight. He got plenty of stick in the previous matchup between these two. And Newcastle ended up having the last laugh, really, in a very high-scoring game. I think it was, 7-5 that we covered that day. So, like we've said before, there are plenty of goals in this Newcastle side, and that's a good thing. Considering how many goals Isak took with him to this Liverpool team. And here he is already. It is Wirtz coming in behind. So even though Newcastle are the Carabao Cup holders, Eddie Howe has made it no secret this season that he wants the FA Cup this time. Obviously, I think that's the word of a very much a project here at St James's Park, and let's say it hit a bit of a reset, to be honest, with the loss of Isak. But hold on a moment, here comes Gordon, clear for takeoff, and Alisson makes the save, and we say that because of Gordon's blistering pace down the wing, and that's been really Eddie Howe's hallmark over the course of the year. And well, they have lost Isak, but it's still a very much improved Newcastle signing with all the right signings in all the right places. As Tonali puts this ball in, it was heading towards Fabian Schär at the back there. There was Howe with the shot. And that was straight at ours. And I don't think that was the worst, best hit strike that Lewis Hall's ever taken. So as you can see, a repeat meeting. Arne Slot's Premier League season is going down the drain, as it were. His foot and saved by the pro. But yes, Liverpool's league season seems to be going down the drain this year. Not really sure why. But in the Champions League, Liverpool are right in contention. So it's funny how that works out. And hopefully today's win and progression in the Cup will actually maybe have this team bounce back. They've not had the start that was expected, especially in the Premier League. But there are teams that have been worse. Manchester United and Wolves particularly have noted that one. Wolves still no points on the board in the Premier League this season. Cast it to Isak. And look at the Newcastle defenders that are swarming around him right now. They know how he plays. So it's going to be a bit of a disadvantage for Isak tonight, but he's still going to get his, as he did in the previous meeting between these two, in the league meeting, we should say. He's found a Garvenbech here. Liverpool content to really pinging amongst themselves at the moment. But as you can see, Newcastle very compact defensively. And even though they've conceded a lot of goals, generally it is very difficult to break them down. Generally. And I think that's been one of the biggest improvements in Newcastle United this season particularly, is that how compact defensively they are. Everyone's talking to each other and kind of knowing who to go to and how to press. And it really has been a very good cohesive unit here at Newcastle United this season, even with the loss of Isak. And that could be a very big positive going into this year. And with Arsenal kind of falling back a little bit, Liverpool really not having the best of starts, and Manchester United just nowhere, maybe we could be having for another a very interesting table by the end of May. I'm not saying Newcastle are title challengers yet, but we all said that about Leicester City. Once Tonali has put it in, and that's 1-0, and Newcastle strike first. Well, we were about to say, that's what we saw about Leicester City back in 2016, and look how that turned out. And you have to say that the start that Newcastle United have had this season pretty much mirrors it to some degree. And now they're ahead tonight as well. Tonali, vintage strike. And, oh, that was a fantastic strike by Tonali. I think it's his first goal of the year. And, well, Tonali, we all know he's had his somewhat personal demons off the pitch, but he has returned over the last season or so, and he's returned to a plug, and tonight he's just given his team a lead. 1-0 to Newcastle United. Liverpool have been stunned again by the brilliance of this side, it has to be said. Well, St James's Park has been absolutely in dreamland over their start of the season. A couple of bumps in the road, of course. That 3-3 draw against Bournemouth in a game they should have won. And that 2-0 loss to Arsenal, although you really can't blame Newcastle for that, because Mikel Arteta's side have been a powerhouse this year. And the additions of Gyökeres and Zubimendi, just to name two, have really made the difference. They have a goal coming in, and we're speaking of Arsenal, and I may have just jinxed them, because James Maddison has took the lead in the North London derby. And, well, I think I have to send my heartfelt apologies to the missus there, because I might have just jinxed her team. Here's Cody Capron, it's a good save by Nick Pope, but he was offside anyway. And, well... Well, I hope I didn't jinx them there, but James Maddison has took the lead for Spurs. It is the Carabao Cup. But I think Arsenal fans will take any trophy at this point. This is probably the lesser of all the trophies this season, of course. But in some cases, it probably is, because you haven't won it yet. And Newcastle United did last season with Alexander Isak. And right now they're starting off defence perfectly. 1-0 here at the moment. Andy Pope made a splendid save earlier. And, well, Newcastle have conceded goals, but they're not leaking them per se. And I think that is a positive as well. Especially with James Trafford performing admirably. for Newcastle United over the course of this year. Nick Pope seems more than content with the role he's been given. But he will always be in the important fixtures. He seems to have featured a lot in the Champions League this year, which makes sense when you think about it. He puts Trafford under less pressure in the bigger games. Although he has really managed so much of a name for himself, James Trafford, that he could probably be thrown in right now, to be honest. Splendid up-and-coming keeper, James Trafford. I think he was had some time at either Bolton or Leeds, and then most recently, of course, Burnley. And of course, we spoke in the pre-season video about how Pep Guardiola was looking to have him back with a buyback clause, but signed Gigi Donnarumma instead. I mean, if you're going to have an open opportunity to sign one of the best goalkeepers in the world, you're obviously going to take it. But it's landed James Trafford, and very much a Premier League contender, let's say now. A preliminary one at that, because that's where Newcastle's trajectory is. They are certainly heading in the upward direction. And a lot of that really does attribute to Eddie Howe, to be honest. I, for one, bias aside, because I don't really have any per se, but I am a fan of Eddie Howe, and I'm so glad that he's actually become a winner now. It's been a long time coming, but what he did at Bournemouth was sensational, really, and it was just unfortunate it didn't really end up in a... it might have ended up in one of those championship trophies, as it were. So maybe Eddie Howe's already won trophies. It's just maybe one of the lesser ones in the domestic game, but they all count, of course. Even playoffs do. McAllister, and here's Alexander Isak, and it was straight at Pope. And well, previous knowledge didn't really count much for Isak there. Inverts. A lot of expectations on him considering his price tag this season. He hasn't really delivered yet, but he will come good. I have to feel. And so will this local side. Gordon, great turn of pace there into the box towards Jones. It's found out it's Yone Weezer. I almost said Isak there. I almost said Alexander Isak, but it is Yone Weezer. It was a wonderful piece of play there by Newcastle, but unfortunately Weezer was right at the the wrong side of the right-hand post, and Newcastle come close again. When Anthony Gordon gets on the ball, you're not catching him. He had so much pace. And like we said, it's been one of Newcastle's hallmarks this season with the wing play. They have absolutely pacey wingers. Anthony Elanga can certainly be put in that conversation. Something Harvey Barnes will probably have to work at. He's not the fastest compared to Elanga or Gordon. And here is Gordon now. It's a beautiful pass by Livramento. And there Gordon is clear for takeoff again. And he scores this time. 2-0. Newcastle United are ahead against Liverpool again. And is that man with jets. Anthony Gordon. No one was catching him. It's another splendid solo goal. And Alisson has no chance. Look at this. How much space he has. Doesn't need to use Weezer. He has every confidence in himself. And Erne Slot is having a pretty difficult time against Newcastle United so far this season. 2-0 down, and they lost the league encounter earlier this season as well. St James's Park, once again, as we said earlier, in absolute dreamland. Except when Alexander Isak is on the ball, of course. Salah. And Fabian Schär, great tackle there, to be fair. And Salah is not an easy player to get off the ball. So it was a brilliant tackle. Tonali, wonderful ball over the top to Gordon, surely, and no. He was offside anyway. That flick by Tonali. It was almost telepathic. Oh, that's close. It's very close. I think his hand was offside. more than anything else. But I'll take it. Another opportunity for Newcastle United, and let's just say the Liverpool have really threatened. Really, most of Nick Pope's saves have been rather, let's say, elementary. He did have that one splendid save earlier, though. But it's that dreaded corner, isn't it? And I think that's what Newcastle need to avoid. They've been certainly weak from corners, in a sense. Verts, Pope, it's a poor opportunity really. You're not going to beat Nick Pope from there. You have to get up very early in the morning. Be an established man, I need Pope from there. And that's going to be a foul and a free kick. As the board goes up for 2 minutes, about it on time. It's a poor kick by Goulamales there. And Isak, well, he's just as poor, and Lewis Hall gets to get that, but Salah tracks back, tracks back very nicely there. And Liverpool muster up one last opportunity here. And again, it's that compact defence. Every black and white shirt is back there. And what a tackle by Tonali that was. Wonderful reading of the game there for Tonali. And that's the end of the first half. And St James's Park is delirious because once again, their team is up by 2-0 in the holders of the competition this season. Let's just say, surprisingly, have had an easier time of it than they probably expected. Newcastle ahead by 2-0 at the break here. But Liverpool, we know, can turn up the screws. Welcome back to the second half here for the Carabao Cup opening round for, I think it's the Premier League sides. I think it's round 4, I think. I'm not sure. It might even be the quarters because the Carabao Cup's not really a long competition for the Premier League sides. It's over by February usually. But here we are at St James's Park, and as we said at the end of the first half, absolute delirium here because St James's Park is having another field day against Liverpool specifically. And another very happy day for their fans as well. Oh, Nick Pope there, very, very lucky to get away with that. Livramento finally gets it clear. Oh, lucky Nick there, and Goulamales, oh, he couldn't pick out Gordon, he picked that into really good stead. Tons on the box here. Fabian Schär gets it away. Well, finally, starting to get into the game. Maybe on the slots team talk. Probably made them a bit forward thinking here. McAllister tackled by Botman. And Botman doing brilliantly to hold up the ball. And you may have noticed in the previous match, a certain, I think it's Cameron Jordan, I think we heard about, homegrown lad making his debut. And speaking of current fixtures, we've got a game against West Ham coming next for Newcastle. And then, I believe following that, is the Champions League against Marseille. How much space Howe has here. Oh, beautiful pass to Joeington as well. Such pretty play from Newcastle United. Tonali to Gordon. And it's elementary, you'd think. It is. 3-0. And Anthony Gordon is just not going to miss. And they do it again. Pretty play. Love to the fans from Anthony Gordon. I love being in this place, I've got to say. They are absolutely on their feet here. And, wow, Anthony Gordon, another splendid goal. But that was just more about the passing and the precision from Newcastle United. They may not play a lot of lob ball, as it were. They're more on the ground, but that's why, because they have so many players that can run at pace. And Anthony Gordon was one of them, but that was all set up by his teammates. And Newcastle 3, Liverpool 0. And they look nowhere. Goal coming in. I think that's Crawley Town. And I'm not sure who the other one is. But in any case, that other one has taken a 2-0 lead. I'm not sure who that is. I can't really tell from here. It might be Cardiff. That was a finally a shot by McAllister there. And I think we sometimes see why a lot of lob ball isn't really played at Newcastle United. They do tend to lose it a lot from a lob ball position. Next to Isak, he's turned out Botman here. He's run out of space, and now Wirtz. Botman really doesn't know much about it. Tries to clear it to Nick by a bit of a lack of communication there, but Pope does get away out for a corner. Probably the worst of two evils, as it were, but I don't think there's much more they could have done about that. Let's see how they handle this one. Salah, very much a set-piece specialist here today. And Rudiger goes up with Sven Botman, and he ends up coming really out of nothing. But here's Salah anyway. Fabian Schär, brilliantly done. Well nicked by McAllister there. Good pressing there from McAllister, to be fair. Salah. Right. And now McAllister. And now Gakpo. And once again, saved by Nick Pope. Another clean sheet on the cards. Not with a poor throw like that, it's not. Isak. And another good save by Pope. And this time, he makes sure it gets to a teammate. Trying to almost beat Wirtz there to the ball. Liverpool starting to feel a bit of momentum shift here, but they're already 3-0 down, which doesn't really mean much at the moment. Arns. Oh, was beaten by Frimpong there. He's expecting it to take off as well. There's Isak. Once again, he's shut out by his former teammates. Hall. Now Hall's breaking the pace. And now here comes more of that play. And next fixture for Liverpool will be in the Premier League against Aston Villa. As we already enter November. It's gone by a blur, to be honest. So really at this point, now we're just waiting for the next confirmation of when we can, I'll be next taking off to the Emirates. That's all down to the missus and her ballot luck on that one. So I may be here a while, I may not, we don't know. But you'll know when we do. Well, I do, I suspect. Weezer! Oh, it's a good save from Alisson, to be fair. I think it's a triple substitution for Eddie Howe. Gromales is going off for Joe Willock. Joshua Xerxes coming on for Weezer. And Jacob Ramsey's coming on for Hubby Barnes, I think. And, well, if you could shuffle a whole deck in substitution terms, I think Eddie Howe would take all his first team players off if he could. It's been a bit of a field day. Botman trying to really do his best Nemanja Vidic impression with that header. But unfortunately it was wide. A bit more of a wasted opportunity, really. I don't think the corner was the best hit, though, to be fair. I think the best thing for all these new captions will be when we get to the FA Cup. I certainly know whether it's a new generic kind of format or EFL Cup specific. Well, 20 minutes to go, and well, it's been a field day for Newcastle, really. It's probably been a bit of a stroll, to be honest. They've really done well in all assets today. Isak. And Isak's got to be looking at this team thinking, what have I done? Because right now, Newcastle are on a meteoric rise this season. Oh, wonderful pass from Xerxes to Gordon. 4-0. Splendid goal. Anthony Gordon again. And Liverpool fans, they don't know what to do. Where has this come from? What a pass. It's a defensive mistake to a degree by Rudiger with the sliding challenge to get the ball, but that pass from Xerxes, splendid. And I'll tell you something, Joshua Xerxes is absolutely making waves this season. He's been a revelation. And very much like his old teammate Scott McTominay, who I believe they were teammates for all of 5 minutes, you have to say that Xerxes has thrived since leading Manchester United. The teammates utilising him right. That's the kind of effort it is. It's Isak here. Oh, he's wide. And maybe he wants to cut his former team a break tonight because he's been relatively invisible, let's say. And that wasn't the best chance either. It was a good attempt, to be fair. But yeah, much like Scott McTominay, Joshua Xerxes is thriving since leaving Manchester United, and that really is just the hallmark of the era the United are in at the moment. It really just isn't. It isn't working. And I think at this point, it doesn't really matter who's in charge. Something isn't clicking and isn't working. And I don't know if there's really an answer at the moment. I don't think the manager is the answer. And Ruben Almiron, who's very accomplished in his own right, probably is proving that more than any other before him, to be fair. Solo into Canate there, but Liverpool don't go with a header on goal. And Pope clears it away. Xerxes going to get there. I think he just misjudged the front of the ball just slightly. Yeah, when your former players go off and thrive elsewhere, it really proves of another issue for Manchester United. But the question isn't really what the issue is, because we don't really know. Well, we do. It's very much system-based. Well, that's what Ruben Almiron keeps saying. But really, it's the more pressing thing is what is the answer? And to be honest, I don't think there is one at this very moment. At least one that could be kind of put into the United squad to make it slightly better. Oh, great turn! Oh, off the post. It was a splendid piece of play by Tonali there. That is for Manchester United and the hierarchy to sort out. I don't think really Ineos have anything to do with it, because the ownership change isn't really an ownership change, it's more of a restructuring process. Personally, I think it just gives the Glazers less involvement, but that's out of my jurisdiction, to be completely honest. It's I have an opinion, and I think I'm probably duty-bound to have one as a supporter these days, but it's not like anyone's going to listen to little old me, is it? Here's Joshua Xerxes again. Oh, splendid save from Alisson, to be fair. He's had a troubled night, but I don't think it's on him. It really is just the power of this Newcastle United side. They really are emerging as some of the dark horses, I would say. They are very much the dark horses this season, and no one gave them any sort of dark horse opportunity when you think about it, because the loss of Isak was so huge at the time that Newcastle will probably tip to struggle at least a little bit more than they have in the recent past. I don't think anyone had them down for relegation, because that would just be ludicrous. Here's Isak, and it's 4-1, and he gets his, and as you'd probably expect, and he really should be celebrating, to be honest. His team's 4-1 down. If that was me, I think that'd be rather classed as embarrassing. What is Isak doing? And really, I don't want to be critical on him, but that's pretty much a lacking of class, to be honest. I mean, it's his right to do so, I guess, but for me, I'd lay off a little bit. Your team's 4-1 down, you've had a poor night. Newcastle have shown you up again, proving that they can actually pretty much handle things without you, and you're out there celebrating. after a goal which is inconsequential. It's pretty much a lack of class, to be honest, but what do I know? Anyway, well, Newcastle United, it may be that, but they're going to have the last laugh yet again in front of Isak. And progression in the EFL Cup tonight, and considering the opponents they were up against, it was rather more easy than they thought. Joshua Zirkzee scores right back in Isak's face. And right back at you. I don't think that's directed at Isak. I think that's directed at his former employees. See, with that, he can afford to have a bit of fun because his team's winning and he's just scored a goal that ever inserts Newcastle's dominance. I think that was a message to Ruben Almiron, quite honestly, but who knows? Maybe not. But Newcastle United have driven Liverpool out of the stadium and blown them out again. 3 goals for Anthony Gordon. He was splendid as usual. Liverpool did get a goal, but it was inconsequential. The leader, the holders of this competition, progressed at the first time asking, and it was a field day. Newcastle United 5, Liverpool 1. And let's have a look at all the other scores from the day's games, and well, the week's games, I guess. It was Crawley who were 2 down against Cardiff City, so I actually got that right there. And, well, once again, huge apologies to the missus. Spurs have lost 1-0 to Arsenal. What happened there? Birmingham City actually losing to Portsmouth on penalties. It's not really much of a scalp, I think, considering the position of both clubs. Although I think Portsmouth might be in a lower division, so it is a bit of a scalp. And Wrexham, unfortunately, 2 down to Chelsea. And, well, for Manchester United, it's no better, is it? 3-1 loss against Nottingham Forest. Manchester City won 4-2 on penalties up against Bournemouth, so this is a valiant effort for Bournemouth, and Southampton lost by 2 goals to 1 against Aston Villa. So I believe this is the draw for the next round then. Aston Villa have been drawn against Cardiff City at Villa Park. Spurs take on Newcastle United. Nottingham Forest will have Manchester City, and Portsmouth have a pretty daunting opportunity there against Chelsea.